All right. Hey guys, we have Patrick Super Serda on
Hello,
with
hello,
us.
everybody.
What? Sorry. I'm the worst with this program in the
Uh,
background. It's like I can't. I mute myself every day. I like somehow get the it's just yeah, I'm not a Twitch streamer. But we're making it work. Thank you for joining us. We have Wazi fresh from a sick trip to Prague and
Congrats.
Adam in
Thanks,
the
man.
background.
It
So,
flipped really good.
yeah.
No kidding, right? Even worse
Yes.
than the clip, I just got there a bunch. I won out of the dude. I won a three-way all in.
Wow, what's that like, eh?
Right? I didn't know what it was like to run that good until then. But
Pretty
yeah,
much.
it's fun. I highly recommend it.
Cool. Good.
Anyways,
Awesome.
Congrats.
All right, so we've got a good chunk of people in the stream. We are up to 4,100 US raised, and honestly, like just the generosity from all of you guys has been really amazing. So thank you so much for offering to match up to 5K. We're hoping that we can hashtag punish Serda, and
Yeah,
we'll get thanks to Wazi for donating as well. Oh, sorry, something in my eye. We gathered just probably just around 500 after that last dono in US, and he's matching it. So
I'm matching the next. I'm still up to 1K while he's on. So like the next 500 or so, I guess. We'll
sweet. So
just
it's basically getting matched up to 6K.
yeah.
basically, yeah. So it's
Awesome.
been really, really awesome. And the nice part is by the end of, the charity stream session next week, Dan Smith, Tom Crowley, Martin Crowley, they're all doubling what we raise. So
Awesome.
basically, whenever you guys are on matching, you're getting 4-1. So, we can't
Yeah.
complain about that.
Send some money and everybody.
Oh, sorry, you cut out there. So you can say that again?
I said send all the money in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hello?
Absolutely.
Let's go. Awesome. So I don't know. I guess some of the questions I have for you are, what are you up to now? I mean, like I know that you obviously love to play poker. You've done lots of it. I believe you started off quite a bit online. But what are you doing nowadays? I know you're heavy into crypto.
Yeah, I guess the last 2 months or so, I've kind of transitioned my everyday life into crypto. I basically I started a company with two other partners. We took on a little bit of investment. We're going to be doing a lot of different things in the mining space. Our plans range from actually growing the physical farm. We're fortunate to be in a location with some pretty good contacts where it makes it a little bit more profitable than anywhere else. Winnipeg is very cold and dry, which is optimal for mining conditions as well. We're going to be potentially growing a little bit of a pool and creating a virtual pool so people can assign their hash to us. And then I've also been starting a little bit of an ICO development. No, I don't want to say fund because it's just a couple of people, but I'm basically allowing people to start piggybacking on some of my investments that I've done with ICOs. I feel like I've got a fairly good track record currently. And as the mine takes off, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of really great opportunities with that that are going to arise. So that's kind of taken up the majority of my focus the last 2 months. Um, Other than that, I flew to Montreal for a day, played the WPT there, busted in about 4 hours, euro folding twice. Um, and that's kind of it. No long-term poker plans. I'm going to Australia, rooming
Nice.
with Wazzy, and my
Nice.
girlfriend's gonna go for Aussie Millions, go watch a bunch of tennis, eat, drink, all the good
Nice.
stuff in Australia.
Yep.
Australia is probably one of my favorite places. Really sad I missed Prague, but not really sad to no longer, really be supporting stars and kind of the stuff that's going on there. But I mean, they are doing some really cool things coming up, and I look forward to some of their events coming up as well.
Nice. I know that we could touch on this a little bit later, but for those of you in the chat that are watching who don't know, Serta, he chopped the
Yes.
the EP, the last EPT I believe it was the high roller, the 10K last year in Prague, and he got the lion's share of the money up top, and William Kassouf took the trophy and the title. And I want to ask you some questions about that a little bit later, but
Sure.
so for you guys who don't know that, and he also just won the 10K WCOOP high roller this summer, and it was really cool for me because I was reporting on the Party Poker Millions that was happening in Montreal, and he was literally on his laptop next to me while I was working, and he was just like, it was cool watching him play, and just like crushing. And then you were like multi-tabling because he made day two.
Yeah,
He made day
that was
two
actually,
of yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
That was fun. I was gonna say it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool story. So I ended up bagging the Montreal event. It was like a 2K. I ended up bagging like 1.5 starting, and then I played Sunday. And for the 10K, I wasn't originally going to play it. I only had like a certain amount of funds in my account, and I wasn't really just going to fire it in. And then as registration opened, I kind of saw some of the field and thought it was like a really good spot. And so quickly spun up 700 into 1100 to fire the last chance satellite and sattied in.
Crazy.
So it was very unexpected. And then, yeah, obviously bagged a bunch of chips on day one. And then, yeah, so had the situation where showed up at Playgrounds with a laptop and was 2 tabling live and 1 online. And the best part, I still think one of my best feelings in that spot was I think we were 3 or 4 handed at the final table, and the guys at my table are like clearly aware, and I just literally was like, I'm only gonna just play ace king and jacks plus, and like it's kind of it. I think I had like 800K at 24, maybe 30K big blind, and some guy opens under the gun, and I peel kings and shove like 35 bigs or whatever it was, and he just like tank calls it off with nines.
Your face says it all.
Anyways, he's like, I hope we're flipping. I'm like, well, this is not a good, anyways. And then, yeah, I ended up going deep in that too. But yeah, it was really cool.
You final table that, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, when he says deep, he means final table.
3 outed for a chop for like.
Oh my god! Like, don't even like
8-handed or something.
Oh, we got a donation from Eric Goldstein for $25, and he wrote #punish Serda.
Awesome. Please do.
Awesome. So we're gonna
have it ready here.
Yes.
Excellent.
We're gonna add this.
I was gonna make like I know you have a swear jar. I was gonna make like a punish Serda jar.
Oh.
But I feel like I'm just gonna drink every time people donate. So
nice.
We'll just top up.
Let's go! I love it.
What are you drinking? Let's see that.
Yeah, what are you drinking? Let's see that bottle. All right.
Drinking Talisker 25.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
I drink Scotch. It's delicious. I'm having a housewarming on Saturday.
Oh, very nice.
Everyone's please come drink Scotch with me.
Nice. I was gonna say that hand that you got, 3 outed for chop or something, was like, don't even get me started. You were playing the hand, and I feel like I was more outraged, like, about what happened there. Like, Serda cover, he turned the nut straight, and his opponent had the second nut straight with, and he got it. They basically got it all in for like 1,000 big blinds. Like
it was infinite.
It was insane. Like, it was just like, it never should have happened. But Serda's just like, he goes all in. He's like, call, and then he turns over his hand. He's got the stone nuts, and then he just rivers the queen on the river. He rivers the queen to chop, and it was just like, that was the tournament for Serda.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I obviously ran it really, really good that weekend. So
oh my god, I was like, what the. I was like going nuts. I like probably reacted like worse than you did. But that was a great run. Obviously that in those 2 days or whatever. But we have T Carnage in the chat. He's saying he got over 1 milli CAD. So yeah, it's true. It did come to 1 million Canadian, and we were all rooting you on from here. So It's
Yeah,
pretty sick.
Prague was pretty insane actually. Also a last minute registration story.
You should tell that
So
story for sure because it's a fun one.
Okay, we
yeah,
want to hear it.
so I ended up actually firing a bullet on day one, and I ended up getting it in for like 3.5 starting stacks each, in like the fifth level. Like I had like 170k like really early in the day, um, and I ended up getting in ace ten of diamonds on 10-8, 3, 2 diamonds against kings because he just decided he wanted to check raise and get infinite chips in, and ended up bricking and busting. And so it was pretty tilted and like didn't instantly fire a second bullet in the 10K. And so like went and had dinner and then decided to sit some kilo cash. Ran like pretty good, spun up like 1K euros to about 9. And then went to bed, wake up the next day, and my girlfriend's like, hey, we're going hiking. Like, I'm so excited. And I'm like, as I'm sitting and eating breakfast and thinking about fucking hiking in the really, really cold, I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm going hiking. And I was like, yeah, sorry, gonna go play a 10K. So
Wow,
looked
that's funny.
so I mean there was like a little bit of strategy, but looked at some of the table distribution as well as some of the open seats, and I think because they always leave one seat open at every table at the start of day two, and then they'll break a table as soon as the day starts, so that like people can't really table select. But was fortunate enough to be able to table select a little bit and drew a really good table. I think I had like 3 VIPs and like some of the weaker regs that I thought were left in the tournament with a decent amount of chips. And yeah, so drew a really good table and instantly got from like 50k starting, which was 25 bigs, to like 900k in like 2 hours.
Wow.
And it dipped a little bit and yeah, accumulated on the bubble and then just ran so pure on day three. Um, yeah, I got some people to fold like top pair, top kicker to me in like spots that they should probably never bet folds. Yeah, I
Wow.
think things just like worked out in Prague, and then like the end of the FT was like it wasn't like the softest, but it definitely wasn't the toughest considering the starting field on day three. So it was like things just kind of fell into place and ran really good at like all the big spots. So can't complain.
That's amazing. Can you talk a bit about the chop? Because I know that a lot of people were going on about it on Twitter, as they do on Twitter, and I know Max Silver was chatting with you about this as well, and people were saying that oh, like William Kassouf bought the trophy, blah 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 blah. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your side of it.
Yeah, for sure. So I know we looked at numbers three-handed with uh, his name's
Two-A.
Tokminator online, Tua Hansen.
Yeah.
But we looked at numbers three-handed, and him and Kasuf were pretty close. And then I had something like 55 or 60% of the chips, and he basically only wanted to do ICM, and at that point, I basically controlled who busted next.
That's awesome.
Because the jumps were like 355 or 345, 455, and 765. And so it's a pretty big disaster for either of them to bust in third when they're equal in chips. And so like tried to negotiate like a slightly better deal for myself, and he didn't want to give up any. And so I just was like, well, I'm just gonna use this spot. And yeah, so I ended up like he ended up tripping down a little bit, and then yeah, I remember there was like a spot that didn't get reported, but I like check raised second pair on the turn and then shoved river as a bluff because he just like he tapped himself in a spot blind versus blind, and then just yeah, I remember like it just kind of fell into place, and then when he busted, Will and I looked at some numbers, and obviously I feel like I have some edge,
Mm-hmm.
heads up, and I don't think that's like So now it just became a story or like a question of quantifying that edge.
Right.
So, I mean, when negotiations happen, there are things like edge or perceived equity taken into account, at least. And I was also happy to play for it, like, was very comfortable, but I ended up getting 10K more than ICM. So I think my ICM was like 709 of 765 available, and I ended up taking 719.
Nice.
And then, yeah, so one of the parts of the negotiations was, that I would not get the trophy and that we just like wouldn't play any further. But I think it like fit into what both our goals were in the tournament. And mine was obviously like Max had a piece of me, Chance had a piece of me, and I had a couple other very, very tiny pieces out. And I think at the end of the day, like they wouldn't have cared if I played or shopped for a different amount, but it is definitely life changing. And
yeah,
it's a spot where like I have a huge piece of myself randomly in a 10K, and so like walking up money for me is incredibly important. And I'm also not trying to like build a brand. I'm very happy to just kind of be a little bit more low key in these spots, and as nice as trophies are, it's not really what poker was for me personally. So it didn't affect my decision making in the spot. And I think Will made a really good deal for himself. I think he got a lot of exposure and a lot of benefits. I know he went out to some 888 events. I know he was a shooting star at what was it?
Bay 101, I think.
At Bay 101.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a shooting star this year, and he was just a really nice guy about it too. Like, was happy to do it, and I think we both just got what we needed in that spot. And I think a lot of people criticizing it or saying poker's for the fame or the glory and like winning trophies. It's like it's pretty significant life-changing money, and it's really easy to criticize and make investments and make decisions with other people's money, but when it's actually your own, like you have to put yourself in that spot.
For sure. Yeah, no, I mean that's
yeah.
awesome.
So that was my take on it. Max kind of helped negotiate the deal because originally I wanted to lock up some money and play for some, and then he didn't really want to do it that way. He wanted to lock up most of it, and then Stars was making us lock up like a percentage, and then they didn't, and then there was like a time situation because they needed to get out of the facility, and so they ended up just like letting us do what we wanted to do with it. And I think when it's not a main event and it's not a televised event, I think players should have control of what they do. In reality, it's their money and what they're playing for. And yeah, it's just kind of my opinion on it.
Awesome. Do you want to add to that? Or?
Not really. I mean, Conrad's asking how you ran versus John O. Caramelicus in Montreal.
Ran very well against John. I ended up like 3-bet calling like King Queen suited or King Queen off against him. He opened cutoff. I just 3-bet call King Queen. I just fought for like 25 bigs, and it was 2 9s. He had 2 9s, I think. And I remember the flop came like 10 high. Turn was a jack, and I just said see ya. And just like obviously get there on the river. And,
I reported on that one, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I wrote that one up.
I can't remember exactly how the hand went, but like when the turn peeled, I was just like, oh.
You were like, good game.
See you later. He was actually incredibly nice. Yeah, we've chatted a little bit about crypto since, and then back and forth, and hopefully see him in Australia, and yeah, have a great time out there with him.
we got another $5 from Conrad.
Good, thanks, Conrad.
He put it up as Panama respect, but we're gonna
let me know when you're ready to sit hundreds, Conrad.
To say what?
Let me know when you're ready to sit hundreds.
Oh yeah.
$100
I have actually. So Wesley, you know Wes, right, from Toronto. Wes Wong.
I watch action fairly regularly.
Yeah, he just donated $200 directly to Reg, and he sent a screenshot of the receipt. So we'll add the 200.
Cool.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, actually, speaking of piece buying, I've ran incredibly good this year, as some people know.
Not just this year, last year too.
Yeah, last year was good as well. This year it kind of takes the cake. I had a couple of really big pieces in some main events this year that materialized. Probably one of the more famous ones is the WCOOP main champ. He basically purchased this beautiful home that I'm living in today now.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, so it's been fairly fortunate, but kind of as time progresses, I was focusing a big portion of my time on actually buying pieces and investing, and I found that like the edges are just getting smaller and smaller, and people are still charging like the markups that they were charging like 2 years ago. Like when you just play like a 1K now, like yes, they're like people, you know, the edges are just getting smaller and smaller, and I just don't understand how people think they still continue to have some of these edges. And yeah, it's a completely different story, but I think Timex is doing a really good job of creating a secondary market.
Yeah, let's promote poker shows.
Yeah. So I actually have a question. It reminds me of. So since you said we can talk about controversial stuff.
That's fire.
I remember there was a. I don't know if I should name him. I don't know if it's like, I don't know, whatever. So there was this pro who plays online sometimes, and he's like, he streams on Twitch sometimes, and he sold to the main, like, I don't know, it was like several years ago, I think, maybe 3-4 years ago. He sold to the main for 1.8 and sold like, I can't remember how much of himself, but like he basically was like pocketing a whole bunch of money just even if he busted. Like, I mean, I've heard so many different sides to it. Like, you know, some players will sell like one for 1.2 and sell 80% just a free roll. I'm always conflicted because sometimes I'm like, well, if someone can sell for that much, whatever. But then people are saying, you know, it's, you know, unethical for them to like just print money. And I totally get both sides.
Yeah,
I just,
so,
what are your takes on that?
Yeah, so I'm not going to get behind like the math of like what them selling at markup makes for their like bottom line or their break even.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can sell at markup and then actually still be losing in the field and make money.
Mm-hmm.
But I think selling for high markups is fun. Like I've definitely paid like a very big premium on good players in soft fields. Like
yeah,
I think I paid 1.8 on a couple of people this summer. I think I would probably pay more if it was the right player.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty unethical to pocket money from selling. I know there's probably a couple Twitch streamers that are doing that. I think if the reason they're selling is to provide entertainment, that's one thing. Like if you're buying to purchase a streamer's action to provide entertainment and to provide a sweat, then that's fine. If you're purchasing as an investment, it's terrible. And I think in a lot of those cases, it depends if the investor is misinformed or if he's informed and doesn't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, you know, I used to care about stuff like this a lot and call people out and be like, this isn't worth it. And now I just don't care because people are going to continue to make poor investment decisions regardless of if you educate them or not. It's you can prove all you want, but people that, you know, want your opinion but don't want to learn, it's just wasting your time.
Yeah.
And I've kind of just like moved past that for the most part. I mean, there's still a couple arguments that I'll get into here and there. Usually crypto based when, you know, people just make random assumptions or evaluations in certain situations where I just, you know, can't help myself but to prove people wrong in some spots. But
Sometimes it's just boredom too, right? Where like you're looking at this and you're like, just have to say something. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's more so that the influence. It's not so like everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but it's when you start. It's like telling people that the Earth is flat. Like this is just not how the world works. Like we have physics for a reason. Like
Yeah.
people just don't understand. Like, but by spreading this like falsehood, you're actually hindering other people's beliefs and making people dumber, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it, but like you are providing a negative contribution to society by saying things that you're uneducated or uninformed about. And I think the poker and crypto world is full of that stuff. So
Crypto, especially for sure, is full of that right now.
yeah, I think so. And I think there's a lot of speculation and skepticism, and people are right. You know, some of these ICOs are raising $100 million on a pipe dream product in 4 years. Like that's crazy.
Like if you look through even yeah, I was gonna say like even if you look through the top 100 right now, I mean, there's just rife with scams right now. It's insane.
Crazy.
Like BitConnect is a literal Ponzi scheme, and there's so many other like obvious ones where it's
there's
just
so much
insane.
market manipulation, and like this is something that like definitely deters seasoned investors.
Yeah.
You know, like they'll see something gain 200% in a day, and there'll be no repercussions for it.
Yeah.
That's not like you can't increase your market cap by 200%. Like it's when you're a $50 million company, you can't just be a $150 or $200 million company overnight. Like it doesn't work like that.
No.
There's very few situations that would ever have that happen, and like it's just it definitely scares people away. But obviously making a quick buck is also very appealing, and nobody wants to work for money. So
I have a quick question about a markup. How do you, I guess, how do the pros, consider what is fair? Like, let's say I came to you and said, Serda, I'm about to play, like, the 1500 at Deerfoot. Okay, no, let's say 500, because, that's a bit obvious. Like, I'm not experienced with 1500, so why would I charge a markup? Let's say it was like a 500, and I said, Serda, I'm selling, and I'd like to charge for a markup. Like, what would you think is fair? I'm not going to get offended because I don't play tournaments, but how do you determine?
So markup is actually a calculation, and it is a zero-sum calculation.
Okay.
Markup is a premium that you pay because you feel a player has a higher ROI or return on investment based on the field, okay? So say you have a 100-person field, that would make 10,000% available, okay?
Okay.
Now, right? 100 times 100?
Yep.
10,000?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, so there's 10,000% available. So how that gets distributed among all the players, it has to equal 10,000. So if I'm losing, so I buy in for 100%, my buy-in is, say, $1,000, and if I break even, my expectation is to leave the tournament with $1,000. Okay, if I'm losing, say, 10% versus the field, say I'm slightly worse, that means that 10% is distributed among all the other players. So the better you are, the more of these percentages that you get. Okay? But if everybody is really good, you don't get to, like, your edge is smaller, and the market that you can charge is smaller. It's like saying, say Fedor plays a 9-handed sit and go against, the 8 best sit and go players in the world. And Fedor decides he wants to charge 1.1 markup. That means that every single player is losing 1% to him or some combination of that. And so markup is strictly a derivative of the softness of the field and your skill ability. And it is extremely hard to quantify those two things, but it's based on previous numbers, location, location's a big one. People forget about this one all the time.
Sorry to interrupt. We got another donation.
Yes.
From Johnny G from Edmonton. 7848 US, so that's 100 CAD. Thank you so much. I know Sunny put that in for him, but let's go. I don't know. I'm going to do the math on that once Serda's done. But thank you so much, guys. Keep them coming. Punish. Let's punish. All right.
Yeah, so it's strictly a calculation, and obviously estimating these calculations in 500 or 1,000 person fields is incredibly tough. Things like structure come into effect, but a lot of it is just, in the end, like, people want to gamble. You know, it's like, people either want to gamble by buying action, or they want to reduce their variance by swapping. You know, there's a bunch of different factors, but I feel like, I mean, obviously it's a small sample, but I feel like I've had success buying pieces, and I feel like I can evaluate things accurately, and I'm absolutely for markup. I charge markup when I sell. Sometimes I don't charge markup. It's all depending on the.
Yep. Nice. I like that answer. Yeah, I definitely knew it was like a bit more complex, but I always was curious as to how some people, you know, even for themselves, come up with a markup.
Most people just don't.
Yeah.
So something to remember is that when, say, markup is 1.2, if you think that player is making 20% first to field, your investment is break even. You're not actually making money. So common practice, or what I think should be common practice, is for the investor and the player to split the ROI usually.
Okay.
So say I think I have a 30% edge in the fields, I'm going to charge 1.15, generally speaking, if I need to sell.
Okay.
There are fields where, you know, say like a fairly soft 5K game, if I needed to sell to it, say that I think my ROI is like 80%, I might sell it at like 1.55.
Okay.
Because I know it's in demand, and I think there's still edge for the investor, and I think it's significant enough for people to make money. So I guess that's kind of what my opinions on markup are, but I am absolutely for it, and I am not offended if somebody thinks that they are worth more than they are, and they pass on selling action to me. My money runs really pure, so when you're at the final table and I have someone there, we're in trouble.
I've heard that too. So...
I can confirm he gets lower markups based on his money running so pure.
Yeah. Yes. People actually sell me at a lower markup because my money runs really good.
No, it was funny because we were watching Wazi on his final table, the Unibet Open, the High Roller, and all of us were in chat, even Chris Semesco, who's in chat right now, and says, "Oh my God, time to punish Wazi." We were all in the chat, like, we're like, "Oh, he has that, like, oh, here we go.
Wow, there it is.
One time, donated $500. Punishment for Wazi, and also helps those in need. Great day, in my opinion. Thank you so much, Semesco. Awesome. We were just talking about you. We're going to add $1,000 to this because...
I got punished for the max.
Yes. Okay, so Serda's punished for the max. I mean, Wazi's punished for the max. Let's go for Serda now. Thank you so much, Chris. Holy shit! Put that in the swear jar. Let's go. Oh my God. Okay, so we have to also add this, I can't, like, these weird numbers. 7, 8, 4, 8 times 2 plus 5, 5, 9, 1.29.
I heard you guys went out the other night.
We all heard.
It might have happened.
7:48.25.
Took a long time to recover today.
Yeah.
Still kind of recovering.
Yeah, I get a message from Conrad, like, middle of the night. He's like, FML. He's like, we're all wasted, and I just puked and had to pay $100 for or whatever.
Guy can't hold his liquor. It's embarrassing.
God. Oh wow.
This guy's like 120 pounds, like.
Yeah.
Right, but he's Polish, so that kind of cancels it out.
Soaking wet.
Yeah.
That's funny, guys. We crossed 5K. I'm like, I can't even stop smiling. This is amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for everyone's donated, doubling. We got time. We got time to punish Serda. So
yeah, there's lots of time. I've got definitely another 50, 60 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it. We've got a tally here of what you guys owe. So don't worry. We will make sure we send you the bill. And thank you. Thank you, everyone. Lisa!
Lisa, come say hi.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were leaving with. Sorry, she has friends over, and one of them is leaving, and I was like, oh, I just expected Lisa to be leaving, and this is like, that's not your girlfriend, Patrick.
Hi, Lisa.
Bye.
Bye, Lisa.
Lisa will make an appearance in a moment, I'm sure.
Nice.
Just come in and.
Awesome.
Anyways,
Wicked. Yeah. This is so great. Thank you. I did not expect these numbers on like, what are we, day 4? Like, this is unbelievable. So awesome, we really appreciate it. Thank you. And the fact that this is doubled, we've now crossed like 10K raised for Red Charity because Dan Smith and them are doubling. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah, you're doing a great thing, by the way. I think that's really great.
We have another one. T Carnage donated a semi-real amount. 37.61.
Oh my god. Every amount is real. Don't
I know.
Hesitate to donate. Please do.
It's only because I don't take T Carnage's seriously because he sends us 1 cent. That's why. That's why I'm saying it's not a real amount because he sends us 1 cent.
No, it was worse. He sent 51 transactions.
51 transactions. Every
I
dollar.
was just trying to block up the ledger. That's
every dollar and cent counts, but like T Carnage just likes to send pennies. It's hilarious. All right, thank you, T Carnage. You are awesome. I'm kidding. He like
this one's for Chris and.
There we go. Yeah, let's go. Chug it up.
Can't chug it. Too expensive.
Fair.
All right, we're gonna tally this up here. 5823.47. I already said I'm gonna round off the number at the end because it's just my OCD is.
Wazzy, have you done anything since winning big?
Got had a few adult beverages in Prague after that, and yeah, that flight home was.
Adult beverages.
What's that?
Adults or adult beverages?
No comment.
Wow.
I will choose to refrain from commenting on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there might be children on. I don't know. Anyways, so flew back and basically showed up here a couple days ago. Had a few drinks last night, and then driving back home tomorrow. Gonna check out the new place now that you're all moved in. Have a few drinks.
Well, we're in the process. There's still quite a few boxes, but we have some furniture.
Nice. It's a good start.
We have a lot of booze. I went to the LC the other day.
Okay. That's important to stock up on. So
yeah, just a real amount of alcohol for Saturday. Again, everybody, please come. Yeah.
I wish I'm gonna be here in Calgary. I don't know. Fly to Winnipeg for the day.
It's on a plane on the 24th. It'll be fine.
Oh man, should we do it? Maybe.
That could happen.
Maybe. I've never been to Winnipeg, ever.
It's exciting stuff.
I've heard.
Yeah, actually.
You're really selling it well.
Yeah, I thought I actually wouldn't be here or be in Winnipeg still by now, but yeah, house and a bunch of furniture and one company later, still in Winnipeg.
Nice.
Awesome.
Wow.
Is the electrical all finished yet, or are you?
Yeah, so we cool story, we were in Punta Cana actually on vacation when we ended up getting a phone call saying the house was available, but it obviously needed a bunch of work, and electrical's all done. There's some painting that needs to get done while we're away in Australia, but it's going to be an ongoing project, but super excited about it.
Nice.
Lisa, come say hi. It's fine. Just come say hi. It's Eric and Leah.
Hi, Lisa.
She can't hear. Hold on. I gotta unplug the headphone. Hello?
Hi, Lisa.
Come say
Hi,
she's. Well, hi.
Hi, Lisa.
Lisa.
You're here.
Yeah, I
There you are. There. Well, this is what life is like now.
Hi, good to see you.
Lisa's been busy unpacking and cleaning the entire house the last couple of days,
Yeah.
and she's exhausted. And that's about it. Yeah. That's, I don't know. I'm looking at you. I've been super busy and stuff, but yeah. But Lisa's enjoying stuff here. She's gonna probably
Nice.
leave us now and
Awesome. Congrats on the
I'm gonna put my
house.
headphones back in.
See you. Conrad
One
says.
second. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. So Lyle first
Can you hear
says. Yeah, you're good. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Lyle first says he's hand for hand in a horse tournament right now, and he's right now pledging half of whatever he wins to the Punished Serda.
Let's go, Lyle.
And T Carnage says he sent 37.61 because that's how much money you've lost to him in Heads Up Sit and Goes. So now you can
that's
double your
fair.
losses.
Pretty sure I was like really wasted and saw him sitting in like some $10 lobby or $12 lobby, or I don't really hit micros very often, so.
Wow.
Too rich to play micros.
Yeah,
Too rich
I'm
to
pretty sure I
fold.
just shoved every single hand, and then he just called with like second pair all the time, and I lost like 15 buy-ins. I was sober, and the most recent time I did win.
He's still holding his cash.
Yes.
I remember when I saw you when we were railing Wazi to his victory at Venetian.
Oh yeah, that was the best.
You were drunk at the 1-2 table, and you were just like holding chips. You're like, Aaliyah, come, we're just shooting. And I'm like, yeah, that's not my thing. He's like, come on. You were just like, you were just punishing them. You were making their lives miserable and just drink. It was hilarious. It was very, very, very fun.
People get mad when I just like don't actually want to play poker and I just want to be all in all the time and sweat the cards.
Oh, that was great.
And it's really great actually because it's kind of something that I've like started doing as I care less is when I see like say in a tournament when the cards get flipped up, I usually just watch their face now and I know it's like I'm taking that snapshot in my head of like or
Yeah.
one or the other. But
that's
it's
awesome.
way more fun to sweat the reactions than it is to sweat the cards. And I feel like in live cash too, when like you don't have to flip the cards and like you keep looking back at each other, it's like one of my favorite things about poker now.
I'm gonna have to remember that
I
next
love
time.
being all in. Like if I have a flush draw, I'm all in.
I love it. That's pretty funny.
He's
Yeah.
becoming a VIP very fast.
Something like no spade, and then spade comes and I just smile.
Oh man, that's the best. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Wazi's had quite a bunch of success. I mean, like I wanted to like look at his Hendemon. Maybe we'll do that later. But I was like, I just want to look and see it all, like, you know, a year and a half, because I remember so I guess not this past summer before was when I actually met him in person finally, because he had I'd seen him trolling online a bunch, and I was like, oh, he seems cool.
As it is.
I was like, he seems cool, and then I met him at Deerfoot, and then he just immediately final tabled, and then you won something too, right?
I did. I won the last one, like some random turbo,
Okay,
like $200
yeah.
turbo.
There was also like another tournament where I remember very vividly there were a bunch of players on that table, and the reason I remember it so vividly is because I was so tilted by the fact that Wazi had most of the chips and they were all berating him because he refused to chop, or he refused to pay the bubble in like some weird turbo,
Yeah.
and they were like calling him names and they were trying to like collude against him, and then Wazi gets heads up with Sumi, and this like one of the guys who was berating him was like, oh, I'm gonna bet like, was it 500 or something?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was.
I don't know, but he bet something on Sumi, and Wazi just snapbooked the action and sadly lost heads up. But like,
it was actually, I think the line I got was not a great bet, but I didn't care. I just wanted to play for more money because I was over it versus all these people.
Oh my god, he's just like, yeah, I'll book it, and then poor guy lost. But at least like the lady he lost to wasn't. I don't think she was.
No, she wasn't. She's a sweetheart.
She's so nice. Like Sumi's so nice, but it was just like so. It was just so awkward. But it was funny. I remember I was super tilted by it, and I can't say anything because like we're not supposed to. We can't get involved in that stuff. So I was like, oh, like so angry. But yeah. But yeah, it started there.
I can see the personalities in the writing more and more as I like read updates now on Poker News. So
yeah.
There's some very select and choice words which I love, and I understand, and I know what your viewpoints are in some situations.
Yeah, especially in well, probably less on Poker News, but more on like 780 updates because we have I think what people and the thing is like it's more like a family community that we have at 780 versus when we go to Poker News and World Series. Obviously, I love to report on you guys when I see you, and like I'll always be updating you guys. But on 780, it's just kind of like you get almost defensive for other people that might be in our community that are on the short end of the stick in crappy situations. So I'm trying not to swear. So like, I'm trying not to swear. Okay, so yeah, so
I will match the swear jar if we don't hit 5K.
Oh wow!
So
just let loose.
Fuck! Let's fucking go! Somebody update this. Who's pinging?
Is there like coin dropping sound or something we can make?
3. Not really. I was gonna get like a bunch of loonies, and then it snowed, and I was like, I'm not going outside. Like it was just one of those things. We're just updating it on Twitch, so I owe 3 more. But yeah, no, I it's one of those things where I just like I don't really care too much. As long as I'm not like insulting people, I'm gonna probably stick in some needles there. Even like Wazi loses, comes in second. I'm just like, yep, looks like he needs to work on his heads up game. Like, I can there's some people I know I can needle, and it's just all in good fun.
Whereas, who can take the needles?
It's turned into a live pro now, anyways. So.
Yeah, I barely have my heads up anymore.
Every hand conversation now has like a 15-minute preface of like the person's actions.
Yeah.
How they were sitting, how they were hunching over.
Yeah.
How they tossed their cards into the muck normally versus this time.
Yeah.
How they peeled their cards, where their eyes were looking. All this stuff is just like a preface to like the actual hand history, rather than starting the hand history and seeing if there's an actual conversation to be had in this situation.
I love it. I mean, I guess those things.
It's not specifically Wazi. It's actually more so me now. Whenever
Yeah, you're just as bad for it though.
I'm terrible.
You might be the worst.
Yeah, I may be worse, but I definitely include like timing and stuff like that all the time when it's probably unnecessary in some situations.
Yeah. So you'd be like, oh yeah, Joe was eating chocolate cake and he put his fork down and he still had crumbs on his face and raised. He had aces. It's like...
stuff like that. It'll also just be like a, so like I opened and got 3-bet from the button, and the button before 3-betting looked to his left and appeared to count out some stacks. So it seemed like he didn't want to 3-bet call versus a 4-bet. So I piled pretty light in the spot, and I got snapped by kings. And so I want to justify myself with like 8-9 suited.
Oh.
I did the same. I think from one hand I sent to you from Prague this last week, where it was like, yeah, a guy opened and as soon as he opened, instantly turned back to keep eating his food. And I was like, well, use this to justify cold foring a spot with a hand that I probably shouldn't.
Absolutely.
We have another donation from Ryan Schumbert for $100.
Oh, let's go, Ryan. Thanks, buddy. We have crossed the 6K mark.
Beautiful.
Let's fucking go.
There it is.
One of these.
Let's go.
Yes.
Now that the swear jar is getting mashed, I can just fucking say whatever I want. Somebody better be paying attention because I am not.
Counting.
Okay. 6,023. I can't even breathe. This is like crazy. And then also Wazi's gonna be punishing and
Punished.
yeah.
I've already reached max punishment, so now it's all about punishing Serda.
Yeah. So
Please do.
yes,
This will be fun.
I love it. This is amazing.
Serda, I have a question for you.
Let's go, Adam in the
We
background.
were talking to Ryan LaPlante about it a little bit yesterday, but with the evolution of poker, a lot of tournaments are going towards shot clocks and button antes or big blind antes. What are your thoughts, and do you think it's good for the game, or?
That's actually like a very great topic. I think when I first played with shot clock, I was very much for it because I act fairly fast, or at least I used to. I definitely take my time a little bit more now, especially on like day 2 or day 3 of a tournament, or in 3-bet pots and cash, stuff that's like a little bit less standard for me, where there's a significant amount of big blinds going in. I guess we'll start the conversation about shot clock. I think it's in the right direction, especially I think WPT actually is doing one of the best jobs with having a shot clock on the bubble and then moving forward. I think they have a shot clock when it gets down to 2 tables.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3. So it's on the bubble and then 2 or 3, which I actually think is really good. I think at the final table it might, or maybe it should be removed. I also think that the structure of time tokens could use a little bit of work. Either increasing time tokens at, say you get 1 time token per level up to a maximum of a certain amount or whatever, but I actually think that there should be things like 1 5-minute time token per day. I think that players do encounter spots that require more than, a minute to 2 minutes of thought sometimes. And it's really unfortunate, especially I think in very high buy-ins where, using time tokens early on is actually a serious consideration where people are not making the best decisions they can. Obviously, I haven't played in very many shot clock high rollers recently. I don't play very much anymore. But that was my first thought behind it, is that I think that there should be an extended time token that's not just 30 seconds or 40 seconds or whatever it is. I think you should be able to play, like a 5-minute token. Especially in big spots, like at the final table, like I think, there's a lot more factors and calculations that need to get done, not just like a countdown of a stack. Like you should be able to count other people's stacks and have an approximation to make certain calculations that you might want to do. So that's kind of my viewpoint. I think it is going in the right direction. It is an evolution of the game that I think VIPs are probably just going to have to get used to, because I think what's more frustrating is the amount of time that's being taken pre-flop for very standard decisions. I think that's where my frustration lies. Mostly, it's not on, it's like say I decide to bet Jack 10 on Jack 8 4 2 spades and I get check raised, and our SPR is, I don't know, say 4, and it's like, well, this is now a serious consideration of how I want to proceed on certain turn cards or whatever, and like I feel like I should be entitled to take some time, as should anybody else. Even though Jack 10 is probably a really clear check for me. Or no, sorry, Queen 10 would probably be, or Queen Jack would be a clear check. Jack 10 I might bet, but whatever.
Too much strat.
Yeah, too much strat.
Yeah, too much strat, sorry. But I think those spots actually require some thought. But like, if you have 4s on like King, Queen, 8, and like somebody bets and there's 2 hearts up there, and you're like, oh man, does he have a flush draw or does he have a pair? Like that's not a real thought process, because your conclusion is always going to be your conclusion is always going to be I'm folding. It doesn't matter. And that's where I think that there's like a lot of time wasting, and people that are trying to build pre-flop strategies that take 30 seconds pre-flop, like actually like jump in a fire. Like it's actually the like if you require more than a minute to make your pre-flop, or like 30 seconds to make your pre-flop decision, like don't play live poker.
100% agree.
Like
100% agree.
Okay, so like I personally don't look at my cards until it is my turn, and I try and pay as much attention to stuff as I can. Sometimes I'm on my phone, whatever. But if I identify a spot where I'm like, okay, I think this is like a decent spot because of these factors that are going through my mind, and I peel my hand, and like sometimes I've already made up my decision whether I'm 4-betting or not, or 3-betting or whatever. Like you don't need to tank for 45 seconds to decide on a size. Like that's ridiculous. And I think the guys that are doing this stuff need to like relax a little bit. And
I thought you were gonna tell them to jump in a fire again.
It's actually the worst though. Like it makes live poker very unappealing, and I think what a lot of people forget is that the more hands they play in a soft field, the better their ROI is.
Yep.
It's like if I could play more hands versus what's that?
Elrond's in the money. Good luck. 2 of 26 in the horse. Punish those fucking fish. Oh, that feels so good. Oh. Woo. Gotta get it out now.
Sorry, there's like a weird sound in the house. Lisa's on it.
Oh, okay.
Lisa? Oh, apparently it's a dishwasher. So, true story, I haven't done a single dish in 2017. Not washed a single cup.
The least surprising news I've heard all day.
Do you just throw them out or what?
Lisa spoils me with that stuff. I should do
too
more.
Rich to wash.
She continues to do it, which is really nice. Yes.
You're the best, Lisa.
Yeah. Aaliyah and Wazoo say you're the best. But yeah, back to people jumping in fires. Like it's gonna kill. Like I don't know. When I have edge, I want to play as fast as possible with as many hands as possible. If you like, I understand stalling on like the bubble, and I understand stalling at like 2 tables for like significant pay jumps that are like maybe a blind or whatever. Like I understand it happens. That's why a shot clock's a good idea. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that's my opinion on shot clock.
Yeah, Ryan was saying yesterday that he found some research where they were getting almost double the amount of hands in with the shot clocks and the button antes.
Yeah, so button or big blind antes is something that I am 100% for. Yeah. I don't know which one I enjoyed more. I think a proper structured big blind is probably better because then you always have an ante. Sometimes there's a dead button and there's no ante in the hand, which I'm trying to think of what impacts the game more strategically. I think a big blind ante might impact it a little bit more because all of a sudden you go from under the gun paying nothing to the big blind paying 2 blinds, so your shoving range should theoretically change a little bit, or at least I think it should. I don't know if you're supposed to look at everything in a vacuum or not. I don't really know if I have an opinion on this spot yet, but I've thought about it quite a bit, and I think it makes the most sense because I want to always have an ante.
Right.
And so I think therefore the blind should always just pay the ante. But I mean, if the tournament makes the button ante, that's fine by me too. Whatever to speed up the game. I think it actually slows down the game significantly, and it's something where it also causes better players and VIPs to focus more on the game than they may want to. I think it creates an edge for people that are focused at the table. But if every single hand I have to ante, okay, I'm ready to receive my cards, I'm ready to pay attention. But if I don't have to ante, I just don't care. Like if I don't have to flick in a chip, I can be on my phone and all of a sudden I can have cards in front of me and it's like I'm in the cutoff and there's like a raise and a 3-bet and I have no idea what's really happened. So I think it like benefits players that are paying attention a little bit, but I also think it like speeds up the game significantly, and I think it annoys dealers less, which is
100%.
something that like sometimes I'll have dealers just sit there and wait and do nothing, and like it's frustrating because I mean it's kind of their job, but I also understand from that perspective where like this is ridiculous. I've already reminded you 3, 4, 5 times to ante in like the last 20 minutes, and you still haven't. I'm like, okay. But
you
yeah,
don't really want a dealer on tilt.
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't get the chance to play.
You don't want a dealer on tilt.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. They're gonna punish you for sure.
I did get a chance to play with the button ante.
Since there's been any pain, everybody, so please kind of recognize what Leah and Adam are doing. Really good idea, and super happy to be a part of it.
Thanks, Serda.
Super happy to drink and donate along with everybody else. So
I love it. It's funny because Semesco sent a message. He's like, I'm donating. I'm gonna max out Wazi. Does this count towards punishing Serda too? And was like, well, yeah. I was like, yeah. Wazi's donating while you're on. So Wazi's donating. It
should be triple for the money that.
Wazi's donating $1,021.33. So we're adding that. And Shirley just drunk donated $10. Thank you, Shirley. We're gonna add that.
Shirley, we're gonna go through half the bottle.
Let's go. Let's go.
I have a Christmas it's an engagement party that we're going to later. Yeah. This is the worst. I love them, and they're great. So Lisa's stressed about this engagement party all of a sudden. Yeah, Lisa's gonna leave me in Charleswood. This is great. Charlie, for what it's worth, Charleswood is like the burbs. Lisa doesn't like Charleswood, but yeah. Anyway, so gotta make an appearance at an engagement party at some point.
Okay. We have a couple comments. So first of all, Doozy 350V2. I don't know who that is, but thank you for tuning in. He says more antes and more shot clocks, and then he says removing a shot clock at the final table is pretty bad in my opinion. Maybe add time tokens, but a significant benefit of shot clock is helping streaming / live-ish TV viewing. It is tough decisions, but it's a level playing field. Agreed, though, clock could change on streets.
Yeah. I think that's actually a super important consideration that I've never really thought about in depth. I think, watching a live stream where people are tanking is literally probably worse than being there. And
yeah,
I mean, just jump in a fire. It's I would 100% agree with for production purposes, there used to be episodes that were shortened to 30 or like 22 minutes or 48 minutes and then like a 1 hour segment or whatever it is, 24 or 48 minutes. And so it didn't really matter for Poker Stars if there was like some tagging going on. But I agree that it's now becoming, I mean, that's why Twitch is great for online. It's like everybody still plays with the same shot clock. You can kind of, everything goes silent for a second when there's a real decision to be made. No one's really actually thinking on the fly. Everyone's just trying to think what the best decision and then explain it after. And I think that's a very good consideration to make as, more and more live streams happen and as they become more popular in poker. I didn't watch too much of Prague recently. Watched a little bit, so I don't know how much tanking was going on. But yeah, I think that's like a very important consideration.
It seemed like it was yeah.
Sorry?
It seemed like it was an okay final table for tanking. Like, someone like Jason isn't going to ever tank.
So Jason's great, and I actually think what he was doing was hilarious, and like I know Jason decently well. I don't think it came across.
We're talking about Wheeler, right?
Yes,
came across.
Jason Wheeler, for you guys, if you didn't watch. I didn't really watch much of it, but I heard he was on there.
Yeah, I think he was a little bit frustrated in the situation where, you know, he's just getting coolered in a really, really big spot, and he's like a little bit tilted from it or whatever. I don't think it's affecting his play whatsoever, but I think he turned it into a potential positive if he was going to get somebody to spew because of it, or if the third guy, I think it was Maracas, if he all of a sudden wants to tighten up just because he thinks that those two are battling, like that's a really good result from his conversation. I think the guy, I can't remember what his name, Caduso or whatever.
Yeah.
I think he did a very good job of like making it as kind of lighthearted as possible. I don't think PokerStars can like thank him enough for that, because it could have got a little bit mean or controversial if he had reacted differently. But I think overall, like, it's not a bad thing for the game. I think having somebody talk and have an opinion at the table is great. There's too many guys that are, you know, $24 average buy-in online that come and play like a 1K and, you know, come and play like a 1K and like in the second level, you know, they're like calling the clock on people and just like, man, you guys gotta relax, like, fuck.
Jump in a fire.
You guys gotta relax a little bit. Like, it's gonna kill the game, and you know, it's weird because the higher you move up in stakes, the less of this happens. Mm-hmm. And then when you hit a certain point in high stakes, it starts happening again.
Yeah, I worked the Poker Masters in Vegas, and they ran both the shot clock and button antes. And then I went to I was working the one drop at the World Series of Poker Europe. And at one point there was two tables left.
Cabral is literally the worst human ever.
There was two tables left, and Cabral and Christoph Vogelsang were among them. And
so slow.
At one point, they had to stop play on one of the tables because one table was 3 or 4 hands ahead of the other one, and they just needed to like work in a balance, and it was terrible to watch.
There's definitely some repeat offenders. Martin is just doing it to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like zero respect for him or whatever. He can, you know,
jump in a fire.
Yeah, jump in a fire or whatever to Leon. Think he's whatever. Like, I think Christoph actually has significant thought process happening. For those of you guys that don't know, Christoph Vogelsang, he plays, or, you know, I don't know if he really plays anymore, but he used to play as like 26/07/1985 online or something like that, and it was basically his birthday. But you used to be able to see him sit the highest stakes no limit hold'em games, and he would play whoever. Like, he was the guy sitting in the lobby. So I actually do think that there's like a significant amount of thought that's going through his mind when he is taking time. And I think as you get better at poker, you also realize, hey, this is a really tough spot, or like, you know, this is a really close spot or a tough decision, and you should be able to identify those and give people time. And like, the only time I can actually explain this is like, or like that comes to mind right away, was in Montreal at the final table, where it goes like raise, call, and then Mike Leah raised pre-flop, and like 4 people called, and then the big blind like min clicked it back, and Mike Leah's like in the tank all of a sudden after he raised under the gun, and you know, he takes some time and whatever, he ends up shoving. I fold, the next collar folds, and then the third collar is like in the tank, and like you just know that he has like some like suited connector hand or small pair. Like he never has a premium because he's never like the third flatter with, you know, any decent hand. It's not like he even has 9s or 10s. And then he just like goes to the tank, called time, and I'm like, you're just thinking about like the GSP fight or whatever. And he's like, no, that's not what I'm thinking about. Like blah blah blah. Like you're the third. Like I didn't want to tell him that you're the third. And then he ends up calling off 8-7 suited basically.
Oh, I remember this.
And I was like
Mike,
I don't know if you guys saw my face during this time, but like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, I wish I could get gifts like this for like thousands of dollars of equity all the time.
He tried to give you that gift.
Oh, fuck you. He did a really good job trying too.
It's the same person.
And then just like I got punished, but that's okay. Yeah, but just like what a joke. You know, stuff like that, like you're literally just wasting everyone's time generally, and like it's a really easy spot to identify where like people are just like time wasting. Like, you know, it's like once you've been in the tank for like a minute, when it goes like raise, 3-bet, 4-bet, 5-bet, like you're just not sticking it in with like ace king there. Like I know you're not. So, like, just fold your hand and continue on with play. But, like, people like to, you know, over-exaggerate. Oh, I folded a big hand. And, you know, I don't know. I think that's part of poker, but I think it gets exaggerated a lot. And I think identifying spots where time is required and time isn't required is really important. And most of it happens pre-flop.
We got another donation. I got an email transfer from June Jenkins.
Yes.
She sent
June.
50 CAD, so $39.24 US. I've doubled it and updated our total. So thank you so much, June. Really appreciate all of the donations. This is like absolutely incredible. I can't even believe I'm looking at this number right now. Adam and I were talking. We're like, whoa, let's hope we get to 5K by like, you know, the weekend. It'll be a really cool number, and we're at 61 fucking hundred. Like, holy shit. Yeah.
For
mind
those
is...
of you that don't know June's great.
June's amazing.
Step aside her during Chrissy's run in the 6 max.
Oh, we got another.
It was like more than nice, and she was great. So
we got another 888 from Joe. So we're gonna double that and add it. Thank you, Joe. He's been donating every day.
Awesome, thanks, Joe.
Yeah. So thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in.
But yeah, more about June because she's awesome.
Yeah, June Jenkins, please.
I've seen her on a couple poker trips now. I did Panama and then Dublin right after, and she's awesome. She's like always rooting for Canadians.
Yeah.
And making sure she's on the rail, and she plays actually pretty well too for an older lady. Like she 3-bets way more than anyone I've ever seen at that age. It is insane.
Yeah, she's great. So in Panama, I was in Panama with Wazzy, and I bagged the 10K high roller, and I also bagged day 2 of like, what was it, the 330 or?
Yeah, you played
the
or
440. That's what it was.
440. That's what it was. Okay, and I bagged the 440 Poker Stars Cup, and I had June at my table. She's like, don't worry, I'm going to steal your big blind. It's going to be me. Don't worry, that is going to a good place. Like, just, why are you even here anymore? You're playing a 10K. And I'm like, well, I'm just trying to double up or bust kind of thing. Like, But
that's really funny.
She was great, and that was like, it's like my limited playing experience, but she was one of the more fun people that I've had at a table in a while. So.
Sorry, we're just going to say goodbye to Chris Samasco. He's had dinner's ready, and then he has to wrap presents. So his work here is done. He says, Merry Christmas. Thanks for doing this awesome stream. Thank you for supporting, for contributing, for punishing. It means everything. So thank you so much, Chris. Always love seeing you around, and you're always supporting us. So thank you. Really appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Merry Christmas.
Make sure you hop in and watch the 24-hour stream, because there's a lot of heroes that are going to be on there as well. So thank you so much. Nice, Chris.
Okay. I'm gonna run to the washroom, and I will be back.
Yeah, no worries. Take a break. Take a break for sure. More drinks. Sweet. We're getting a running total. Wazzy's running total is a little over 1K.
Yep.
Thank you. And then because he's going to be donating and Serda's going to double that because that's the deal. And so actually we should add that to the... So I've already added all these. Okay. I just didn't add this one. So maybe do some math here. Let's do it on my phone. This is like first. Thank you guys. We're like over 7K. This is great. What is happening? This can't be real life. I'm like in literal shock. This is nuts.
People stepping it up. It's definitely very much appreciated.
What the fuck? Like this is. I just I don't even know what to say. This is unreal, guys.
How are we doing for viewers right now?
Wow. I'm gonna check 1 second. Actually, we were at like 20 a little earlier. So this is the 7K now is including what Wazi is donating that Serda is matching. So
okay.
I don't know what the math is on that, but we've like more than quadrupled by the end of this whole thing for today. Like we've more than doubled what we had the first 3 days in just one day. It's like incredible. We came into the day with 3,088 and change, and now we're at 71. So I don't even know what to say. This is insane. Like
it's awesome.
Look at that number. Look at that. Oh, look how fucking big it is.
I can't keep up with those swear
jar. Fuck. Just add 10.
Is he still tallying this?
Just add $10 fucking dollars.
It's way over 10.
Westside 8W is Wes. I don't know if you were in the chat earlier when we thanked you for your $200 donation directly to Reg, but we have added that to Serda's tab, and I added your 200 to our total, but I've made a note that you've already paid for it so that when we're at the end balancing and stuff, we know that we're not short because you've already directly paid. But thank you so much. It means everything, and your support has been great as well. So thank you, everyone. Pita Bread 189 is in there.
Pita Bread, what up?
He's saying, actually earlier he said, yeah, I hate paying attention to. Dealer always has to yell at me to ante every hand. Then he says,
we're all guilty of it at some point. And it's not one of those things, but...
He says he says, I think he's talking about the 7-8 suited against Mike Leah. Sure. He says, you can waste my time all day if you're going to make that call.
Oh, nice. I know, but I didn't get anything from it. It's actually terrible for me because like Mike's getting it in good with like 80% equity, and like I don't want you to make a bad decision, so I'm gonna call the clock.
That's funny.
Like, sorry, so this is like probably way too much strategy, but like if I know you're gonna make a bad decision, I'm about to call the clock so that you don't.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like if I have a read or like a spot where I'm like, fuck, he is never bluffing you, like please do not call. And I don't want you because it's really bad for table dynamics, I'm gonna like call the clock or like break your focus or like do whatever. Like it might be like next level thinking, but definitely happens with me.
That's funny. Sorry, we got another donation from $25 from Doozy. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Doozy. And I'm just really quick gonna help somebody try to get to the stream.
Oh, forgot I poured myself a glass of wine. I'll be right back.
No worries. We encourage drinking. Holy shit, we're at 7211.04. 7211.04. Like, this is incredible. Yeah, we're... Jesus Christ. Awesome. This is awesome. This is huge. Thank you. We got... hopefully we can max out Serda. Maybe someone... we need to get Bill Perkins on here.
Yeah, where's Bill?
Who can tweet at Bill?
I might...
Who will listen to... Who will Bill listen to?
Jamie. Where's Jamie these days?
Jamie Staples?
Yeah.
He's in... He went from Prague to Costa Rica.
Okay.
And I think he went back to Costa Rica. I did send him a message, but he's been like incredibly busy. And
if he's swamped, that's fine.
Yeah, I told him, I sent him a message. I said, hey, I know you're really busy. If you get a chance, it would be awesome to have you on or something. But if not, it's totally cool. I understand. I'm just okay. 3450 left to punish Serda with. So. Oh, Cindy.
Sorry, what's the actual Twitch? It
is twitch.tv/ateamcharitystream. Just all one word.
Twitch.tv/ateamcharitystream.
Yeah. I gotta take a fucking picture of this. I will swear all day long, Serda. What are we at for swears?
33.
Let's fucking go.
34.
Wow, this is like... Jesus. What is even happening right now? Is this real life? People were asking, like, we were talking with Kim, and she's like, what are your goals coming into this? And I said, honestly, I didn't want to set any financial goals because I kind of just wanted to keep myself motivated to just keep pumping it, just keep pushing it. I don't want to, like, annoy people, but, I just decided, okay, I'm going to send a tweet, before the guests come up and, before the stream starts, when the stream ends for the day with a tally of the day, and... I would push the same on, Facebook, and I'm trying to put some stuff on Instagram too. But like, I just kind of wanted to keep pushing it. And then when I thought I have my own, my own goals sort of secretly set that I thought maybe we can hit this number, and that goal's been passed already. So like, I was thinking awesome. Maybe we can raise 5K in like a week. And I just was like, that seems lofty, but, we'll see. And it's the fourth fucking day, and like, we're at 7,200. Like, this is insane. Awesome. I can't believe it.
Let's talk about some of the great things happening in poker coming up in the next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
There are a ton of amazing things that are happening next year. Off the top of my head, actually, that reminded me of a question which I'll keep in mind for later. But the WSOP, I don't know if this is good for people or bad for people or just too much, but they added like 13 to 15 more events.
Yeah. I have an opinion on that.
Let's hear it.
I think making not the main event the culmination or the climax is a terrible marketing move. Mm-hmm. I think that what they're trying to accomplish, which is obviously making more money, is going to succeed. Everybody that cashes the main is all of a sudden going to want to play like the 1,500 or the 5K coming up in 2 days. Parlay their like money that they made, and like I think it'll be like a good tournament. Mm-hmm. I think it's in pretty poor spirit of the main events. I think it also directly conflicts with other properties, and it makes me want to play the WSOP a little bit less.
No.
There's just so many events. They all conflict with each other. Like if you're a mixed game specialist, you can't play no limit events. If you're trying to get into mixed games as a no limit player, it's really tough to pass up like a great 1,500 that's going to get 1,500 people.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like that's going to run for 3 days, and all of a sudden you're passing it up to learn a game. Like I think it's getting a little bit overboard. And I think it's becoming a huge money grab, and I wish the WSOP would kind of take that stuff into account. But obviously they are a business, and I understand it from that perspective. I think it does hurt the game long term. I think it hurts all the other rooms. I don't know if I'm going to do a full schedule this summer. It's most likely I will be out there for a week and then come back for another week and a half or 2 weeks. But I think it's not a great thing for poker, but it's a good thing for their business. So I understand that point of view.
What I was going to ask you also, I know that you've played some 10Ks and whatnot. Is there any chance like the next year? And Ryan LaPlante said he's going to be playing bigger buy-ins too. Is there any chance that you're gonna play bigger buy-in, or have you? I can't recall if you have played bigger than 10K, but do you have any aspirations to? I know you like to select and see the field, and which is really smart, obviously, but
yeah. Last year I played the PCA 25K, played the Aussie Millions 25K, and I feel like I played another 25K, but maybe I didn't. I don't know. I don't really remember. I bricked the first two. I actually had a really good stack at PCA, and just got into a spot where I had to bet call off eights on 7, 6, 5 four ways. And Liv B obviously just had sixes. Mm-hmm. It was you just fucking smiled at the end, and he's actually one of my least favorite people to play against live. Nothing against him. Yeah. He's very good at poker. He's opinionated. His opinions are usually justified or valid. But okay. I think
I also don't get along with him, so I understand. We have a bit of a history as well.
I'm gonna have to ask you guys who this is later.
Olivier Bousquet.
Olivier Bousquet.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he just I think he thinks my hand was more of a check call or a check shove or whatever, but I mean, go be a GTO bot, heads up and lose some money. So,
he'll just tilt off to someone because they sound him first.
I'm fucking drinking and I'm gonna start firing shots right away.
Can we fire some shots at Liv B? Because I'm all down for that. Olivier.
My limited experience with him is that he's quiet, he's polite. Yeah. He probably has an opinion on how you play every single fucking hand.
He has muscles.
Yeah, he's pretty ripped. He fucking kicked the shit at JC Alvarado. JC was drawing dead in that bet. Yeah, anyways, I mean, I'm sure he still plays poker and still makes money. I hope he got into crypto so he can not be around poker anymore because it clearly doesn't make him happy.
Yeah. He's always been like that. He clearly always had tilt problems, and every single time get into these ego wars. He justifiably has edges versus a lot of people, but it never made him happy. He didn't enjoy it. Yeah. It seemed I don't know. It seems like he's the kind of guy that needs to move on from poker.
Back to bigger buy-ins, though. I think that was a phase I went through, obviously, after having some big success.
Right.
I had very little to no desire to play big buy-ins. One, because fields are really fucking tough.
Yeah.
And two, because the opportunity cost now that I could be putting that 25K in something else. Mm-hmm. It's in a 25K, in a good one, I might be pushing 10% if I'm lucky. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I don't know. PCA 25K I thought was pretty good. Okay. I thought I was maybe pushing 15%. It's can probably put 25K in something else and have the same amount of growth with much less variance in 2 weeks in crypto.
Yeah.
So
think of the kind of crypto kitty you can buy with 25K.
Yeah.
Some crypto kitties. I have some Gen Zero crypto kitties. I have spewed at crypto kitties. Oh my
god.
Yeah, I need to sell some. I have I've been so busy with this stream that I was doing really well. I think I was up
read crypto kitties. Do you have any fun ones?
I have a couple fun ones. The rest of them are just duds. But I did sell somebody paid $57 US to sleep with one of my cats. It was absolutely I could not believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I'm a pimp. It's it was
it's great.
I couldn't believe it.
Kitties. It's also the biggest money laundering project I've ever seen in my life.
Oh no.
I don't know if I'm gonna get into the details of that, but that's exactly what it is. It's not a game. It's a way for people to but yeah, CryptoKitties are great. Set up a MetaMask account. buy some kitties.
Yeah, I had fun with that. I might get more into it again after the stream is over, but I had some fun.
Yeah.
I do have a question about one just related to WSOP. You probably, obviously, like have an opinion on, having 4 months off versus like 2 days or 3 days that they had off this past year. But now this year they're having no time off, so they're literally playing straight through. Like, what do you think about those 3 different, extremes that they've gone through in the past 3 years?
I think it's great. I think the reality of a poker tournament is highlighted by this, and I get to, or any player for that matter that makes it deep, gets to realize their equity better. I'm friends with Scott, have some very close friends with Scott, and was on the rail this year. There's a lot of things that we talked about in terms of mitigation of edge, in terms of, just like increasing variance for certain players or whatever, that, limited players edge versus Scott, because, Scott was, I think, a player in the middle of the pack at the final table, maybe one of the better ones, but he wasn't the best.
Okay.
And I think he played his hands that he was dealt in the situations very well. I couldn't be more proud of Scott. I think he played extremely well. I think he ran very well, obviously.
Those tens. Oh, well, he had tens, right? Ace 10 or tens versus ace 10.
He has aces.
Oh, sorry, aces versus ace 10. Right, I'm thinking about the other way.
Lose the shit out of him, but
yeah, that was
that's part of fucking winning at poker.
That's so sick. Yeah, that was.
I mean, that much money should never go in that spot, and Scott played they check the flop, and all the money goes in on the turn. This is crazy.
Yeah,
you just get it literally millions of dollars of equity. And somebody has 0%, that should never happen.
Yeah,
but
we were shocked to see the hands turn over. We're like, what the fuck just happened? Add that to this word jar.
I think it's I think it's a good change. I think the tournament should just go like that. I also think that I know they have an ESPN schedule. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that all of poker should cater to ESPN. It's I don't know if it's doing anything to bring players to the game anymore.
Right.
I think that ship has kind of sailed. I think that boom's kind of happened. Mm-hmm. So why doesn't ESPN just record it, air it on the weekend, and be done with it? But let the tournament play out as it should. We should just play 8 to 10 hours every single day. And let the tournament run. This is kind of what I think poker is. And I don't particularly enjoy very long tournaments. I haven't had any success, except for, I guess, Montreal, where I final tabled. But I've actually never cashed an EPT main, a WPT main, or the WSOP main.
Well, 2018 is coming up.
When you think about it, I'm I think I'm 0 for 4 or 0 for 5 at WSOP. I think I'm 0 for fucking maybe 10 at EPT, PSC. And I'm probably 0 for 10 at WPT, which they're supposed to be the softest events, and I've just never fucking won for a match.
Wow.
And
okay. Well, okay, so will you
reg a 300 person 10K and win, and obviously variance.
Yeah.
But I think I've excelled at tougher fields, because I think a lot of my exploits are just based on what I think other players' thought process is in the spot. But yeah, there was a couple. There was a couple things about I'm super against coaching and coaching sites, and I subscribe to all of them. If somebody asks me to coach or whatever, just basically politely decline. I don't think it's good for the game overall. I had to work very hard. I also paid people to coach me, and I thought it was, looking back now, is probably a good decision overall, but at the time it may have not been the best. I think that information is very valuable, and these people that are selling it for, 120 or say $1,000 a year to make the videos, if people are good at extrapolating information, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And I think Laudy actually stopped making Kilo videos on Reddit once because he realized that he's not running a HUD, and once people saw his thought process, he's fucked. And he's drawing dead versus a 500 zoom pool once people see what his exploits are. And I feel like that's something that I've excelled in recently, is being able to exploit some of the not super high roller but high roller population in terms of their thought process. And okay, well, I have this part of my range in this spot, I'm always going to check. It's okay, well, once you check, I'm just going to bet 3x pod in this spot, and I know you're fucked. You can't do anything about it. Because this is what, your thought process thinks. But obviously that edge is shrinking significantly. And I think once people start to realize that, playing GTO is not the way to win the most amount of money, it's going to, poker is going to change again. There was a really good interview with, Hey Cindy. Recognize the name at all, Eric?
I don't remember what his real name is, but yeah.
He's a 25, 50, 50, 100 reg. He posts his turbulence on 2+2, and he did a Joey Ingram interview where I thought he just gave away a lot of information about strategy in high stakes games and the thought process behind equity calculations and stuff, and it was actually very unfortunate, but it is what it is. And that's information that he decided to share because maybe he's not playing the games anymore or whatever, but basically made all of poker tougher again. But yeah, I'm don't really know what the original conversation started as.
Oh yeah, well we were talking mostly just about the gaps in the main event and stuff like that. And you talk about coaching, but I do have, if you did have to recommend someone though, what would be your top pick for a coach if somebody wanted to go find one right now?
That are available?
Just in general, let's say I was hey Serda, I've got $10K for coaching. Who should I go to? Just the best.
They actually probably have a monopoly on the system. It's a stable I'm not going to name because I think they're crushing too hard.
Okay.
I think they're probably front runners for the best at creating exploits for medium stakes players probably, and that's where they're crushing fields.
Okay.
They're just making infinite money beating mid stakes and low high stakes $109 buy-ins. Mm-hmm. Probably just have 30% ROI still, which is ridiculous. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, Wazzy.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, but
yeah. So I think they're
I'm sure several people in chat will understand as well and know who we're talking about. But yeah.
So I think they're propping up mid stakes right now. I think mid stakes poker is actually a dead breed almost. I think the guys that are playing mid stakes are very, very good players that just haven't had proper bankroll building strategies, or they're very early in the game. I think it's some of the toughest stuff, and then I think it's also flooded with a bunch of people that are staked that are probably beating fields but not crushing it. I think it's impossible to beat. If you're playing a $55 buy-in on a Wednesday on Stars, like you're drawing dead.
Wow.
I think Party's doing a lot of really great things, even though I don't agree with all their structures. I think their structures have been kind of catered to a certain specific group of players.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's fine. That is what, like, those players will make the most amount of money possible, and it's also very appealing to people that play less often. It's very appealing to, you know, somebody that plays once every 2 weeks and they want to play on a Wednesday randomly. And yeah, I love getting 30,000 or 50,000 chips and starting at, you know, 200 big blind. Like, that's great. I just get more play in my head. Way more appealing to play $22 tournament. I'm also a huge fan of Party. I think some of the stuff they're doing is very player oriented. Can't say enough good things about them. Every series they've run, they've just done a very, very, very good job about it. Excited to see where the next locations and next structures are going to be. I'm a huge fan. I think they've signed some really, really good people. Chrissy's the first person that comes to mind.
Yeah.
And Chrissy's great.
Jason Kuhn recently.
Yeah, Jason Kuhn. I mean, Pads seems really awesome.
Jason's great at the table.
Yeah.
Jason and I have battled a lot. We seem to be at the same table very often in 5Ks or 10Ks.
Such a nice guy. Just
yeah, nothing but good things to say about Jason except for when he's tilted.
Yeah.
I like Jason a lot, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Jason Kuhn for sure.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like who Yao Sinel, I think, is like one of their sponsored pros now too. I mean, sorry, he's like a Brazilian guy. Yeah, he's great for like publicity in Brazil. I think like Party is making all the right steps. They hired some very important people. They hired John Duffy to run the live circuit. John Duffy was like the founder of EPT. There was also, who else did they hire? They hired
Mike Sexton as the chairman.
Sorry?
Mike Sexton.
Yeah, Mike Sexton. Yeah, great like voice of WPT or whatever. Like, I think he's doing a great job. They for the online rep, they hired the old Poker guy. Poker Star was Brian or Luke or what's his name?
It was Luke, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I played with him for the first time in Vegas this summer, and he actually like came across not the best, but he crushes like player feedback for online tournaments and stuff. Yeah, like they've surrounded themselves with the right people to be successful, which is, as a company, a very like something that I've learned recently is like it doesn't matter how good your vision or idea is, if you don't surround yourself with the right people, you're drawing dead.
Yeah,
and they basically surrounded themselves with the right people, with the right core group to make this a success. Oh, fucking true.
He drinks more.
I fucking speak like fucking amazing right now.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, go support Party Poker.
There's that also that 5K online. Did you heard about that? I assume the $20 million guarantee,
$20 million, that's insane.
which coincides with the 5 Diamond. And Ryan LaPlante yesterday on stream was saying that he's like, you know what, if I have to skip the 5 Diamond to play a 5K with $20 million guaranteed, I'm gonna skip Bellagio. So.
Probably the right decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that the 5 Diamond got shit on, but every single like there's so many tours now, and there's so many tournaments that like you can play like a 5K every single weekend.
Wow, what? That's crazy. Yeah.
Like I would bet that like if you looked around this like world, you could play 5K every single weekend almost.
Yeah.
And you just have to pick and choose like what you want to do, and I think it's important to also factor in the cities that you want to visit, places that are like good economically to travel, like field strength. But there's so much poker out there to be played. Like if you miss a weekend, it's okay. You know, like every other weekend you can play on Sunday and like still buy in for like $15,000 if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like it's crazy. Like
yeah, it's crazy. It's
so many great things coming up, but I think there's a lot of competition, and yeah, like PokerStars announced a 25K with 10 million guarantee and like 8 million added to the prize pool, which is just like great. I mean, the way they're adding it is not. I mean, I have some opinions on that, but
to be expected when a company announces they're adding 8 million to a prize pool. Like you don't expect it to be added the most fair way necessarily, but
right, and that's okay. That's fine. 1 second. Yeah, it's totally fine that like
Brian Slick, they say. They hired
Brian. PokerStars Brian. It was not Brian, not Luke.
Oh, sorry.
Brian Slick.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
Who said that?
Wes and Shirley.
Okay, great. I'm gonna toss an extra 180.
Yeah.
For that.
Let's go 100.
Is anybody else still here? Can we get some donations? What's up, everybody?
Yeah, these donations kind of
What's
dried
up,
up
guys?
the last little bit.
I just tagged Bill Perkins, so maybe we'll get in.
Yeah, just like pop by for 2 seconds, make a donation.
Let's go. 7,300. Let's get it. I tagged Bill.
Yeah, I see that.
Chris, you just
reading so many shitty fucking. I have like. I tweeted the other day. It's like if you brag about your like 25% trade in crypto, like please just fucking like let me know so I can unfollow you, because everybody else is making like 100%. So. I don't know if you saw that, Wazzy.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, it's just getting a bunch of responses now and like people trolling, but.
Yeah, especially with the deputy.
Okay, so
but
we talked about some of the good stuff happening in poker. Let's talk about some of the bad stuff.
Sure.
Okay, go for it.
What do you think is happening right now that is really bad for the overall growth of poker?
That's a good question.
Crypto?
No, that's a great thing for it. That's fantastic.
Single-handedly healing.
I know. I was gonna say that. Actually, I believe it was. I forget who it was that made this comment. It was probably maybe it was Jamie Kerstetter. I was like, "So, what are your thoughts on crypto?" And she said, "Well, it's gonna be great because a lot of like the high stakes players are just gonna make so much money they're not gonna give a fuck about playing." Like some of the softer tournaments, and then a lot of the
that's me.
Yeah, and a lot of
I'm the whale now. Like.
And a lot of the like mid stakes or even low stakes who have got into crypto are gonna have extra money in their pockets and they're gonna want to fire more tournaments. And yeah, I mean I was just kidding. Obviously, I know that it's like great. And obviously, if it tanks, it's bad. So it's just kind of like, oh God, where's
when Bitcoin loses like 40% of its value in like a week, that's bad for like the poker world. Like people aren't playing the 100K coming up.
Yeah. So.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like some guy that's like playing 10Ks normally but has like 3 million in crypto is not playing the 100K coming up because he just lost like 500K or 600K in crypto last week. Like.
Yeah.
But like that's I think crypto overall is like a great thing for poker because it's going to fuel, people's hobby. Like old pros are going to basically just play every single tournament they can or whatever, regardless of if they think they have an edge or not. So I think crypto for poker is great.
I think for bad things, I think the fun in poker is almost missing now. I see a lot of the young players sitting at the table with their headphones in and they're not talking to anyone, whereas you look at like the older guys who, like I was watching Poker After Go the other day, and Mike Matisow and Phil Hellmuth sit on the table. Like, yeah, they're annoying to sit at the table with maybe, but they're still have the fun. They still talk about poker and they joke around with everyone, and it's almost entertainment, right? So I think that part is missing in poker.
And one of the best stories I can tell, I think 3-4 years ago, I had a horse in like a WSOP main satellite, and he sat beside some guy that was like a business owner, VIP. He was going to play the main regardless, but he just woke up early because, old people wake up at 7 a.m. and, like, they decide to play like the 9 a.m. satellite to the main on the day of 1D. And he sat there and he talked to him for, all of 3 hours, and then they got close to the bubble, and the horse had 5 big blinds. And the best, like, I don't know, I assume he's not lying to me, but it just got into a spot where, like, it folded to him in the small blind, he wasn't probably going to make it because the blinds had just gone up, so he had 3 bigs, and they were, like, 5 away from the money. And he shoved. He just, like, didn't peel, like, he basically just shoved, and the guy, like, peeled, like, ace-jack off and just, like, folded. And he had infinite chips. But I'm pretty sure, like, the guy was just, like, giving him a seat.
Yeah.
And, like,
wow.
This is just, like, part of social poker. But, like, if you have headphones in and you don't talk to, you don't learn about this person's life, where they're from, why they're here. Like, is this a dream? Is this, like, the regular occurrence, or just awake early? Like, you never find out about these spots, like, it's just part of live poker. Like, you should talk to people, you should make friends, you should, like, one of my best situations that I've ever, had to come up is I was sitting in, like, a win game, 5-10 game, back when the poker room was still at the Win, and sitting beside a, businessman, had drinks, dinner, or whatever. Turns out to be, like, super high up at StubHub. Get his phone number, and he's like, hey, call me anytime you want, like, StubHub tickets for, like, whatever. Got, like, third row Paul McCartney tickets in Winnipeg when he came by, and, like, that's a relationship that you would never make if you just, like, kept your headphones in. There's so many relationships and business transactions that you can find in poker if you look for it. It's not just about making, the most plus-easy decisions. It's about making friends, connections that are going to help you later in life. Most of the best poker players are not the richest ones. People seem to forget that a lot. It's like there's a reason why people get invited to big private games and some others don't. Like, not gonna fire shots at anyone, but he's bald-headed and has Solve for Y Academy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I think he's good at live poker. I think he,
That's about it.
I think he's good at live poker. And I think he's, like, building a very successful business. He gets invited to a lot of private games because he either knows somebody that's coming to the game that he's quote unquote bringing. So if you bring a VIP, you get to play in the game, or he's liked by enough people that he gets to play. And like, that's a really good example of someone that's not the best at poker, but has made the right connections in life and poker, through poker, that now gets to reap some benefits, and like good for him. Like that's you're beating the system, and like good for you. Like it's not about sitting in a lab and trying to figure out if you want to bet 33% or 48% or 72%. Fuck those people. Like, go play 1-2 Zoom. Like, make your fucking 30 cents more an hour and like fucking jump in a fire. Like, that's what it is.
Well, Christy's in the chat. She says hello, and she says, "Hey, I just saw Eric in Prague shipping spades."
That's right, he did.
Yep. You got 30 minutes to punish Serda. He is matching all donations up to 5K. No pressure, but just saying that the option's there. He is drinking, so...
Bring the pain. I will probably also continue to drink this fucking expensive bottle of scotch that I had purchased for this exact reason.
Before he goes to his engagement party.
Yeah, I mean, my two best friends, like, two very good friends got engaged September-ish.
Okay.
So it's their first time back in Winnipeg. They live in Montreal. They're great. Super happy for that and couldn't be more excited. So we'll make an appearance at this engagement party. But first off, everybody donate some money.
Let's go.
So I can match it.
Where's Bill Perkins? We need Bill Perkins to just...
Hiding.
Huh?
I think he's hiding.
He's hiding, yeah. Yeah, we need some more people to punish Serda. Wazzy's been punished.
Yeah.
It doesn't... So, I thought about this. It's not giving until I can... Until look at purpose.
Yeah, fair enough.
By the way. So,
punish!
Yeah, please do. Like, 5K is, huge amount of money. Like, let's match that, and
I like it.
Reg is doing a really, really good job.
Jeez, they're amazing.
Yeah. It's one of those spots where your money's going to a really good place.
Absolutely. It's really cool that they they do their research and they make sure that they're, it's effective giving, and so basically it's exactly what it sounds like. They're making sure that these charities spend less money on admin fees and that stuff, and goes as close to 100% to the actual cause as possible. So, some amazing causes, and I'm so thrilled. This is incredible. Somebody actually, Kim Ewell, she's a poker news writer. We worked with her a lot this summer. She's really good. We spoke with her yesterday, and she's like, "Are you guys doing this again next year?" And I was like, I kind of thought about it, and I was like, I would love to do it, make it an annual thing. And she's like, she's just sold her marketing business, but she's been doing in marketing for many years, and she's like, I will offer, my time to help you guys even further. So we're gonna try to see what we can do next year and just make it even better, and get more viewers and just, awesome guests we've had throughout the week. And so yeah, we're gonna see what happens next year, but we're not done. We got ways to go.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Eric, let's talk some crypto.
What's that?
Talk crypto.
Let's talk some crypto, because Bitcoin's getting wrecked today.
I know.
Right now.
I've got buy orders set up all over the place.
I mean, the technical guys, whatever, did claim that 13.5 was the big point of resistance, and if we really blast through that, then could be lookout to under 10K again.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be interesting. I've got some money on the sidelines again, but
yeah, 15.4 was a huge point of resistance.
Yeah. Then we dropped 2K instantly after it broke through.
Dropped. I mean, everything's basically looking red right now.
Yeah.
All the basically, the more your shitty altcoin swings, the worse it is.
Yeah, that's basically it. But also all these alts that have pumped so hard right now, people are just gonna take their profits and put it back into Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
So all these alts that just pumped 200, 300%, it's gonna retrace nearly completely, probably. Things like Ripple probably gets like
Okay.
this Bitcoin cash pump has been a total joke, but seems to have started this current drop. We'll see what happens. I'll put in the buy orders, I think, next couple days.
I've got some buy orders set. I'm ready to fire. Except for Icon. Icon's just like been fairly resistant.
Yeah, I know.
I own a lot of Icon, so I'm like gonna shill this right now, but I think it's like one of the best projects of the year coming up.
Yeah. Also, Zcoin basically is where it started today, and pumped up to nearly, it almost broke 100. I think it got like 96 at peak, from what I saw. But we started it in 70, I think, 65 or 70. We're back at those levels, so that's fine. It's still hanging around 500k sats, which I'm completely fine with. Outside of that, obviously still super bullish in the whole space. And
I think it's just like scratching the surface, and
I also think with this dip right now, we haven't really had anyone feel the pain for several months. It feels like we had that swing with
November was brutal for alts.
Yeah, it was. But even just Bitcoin, we had that when the Bitcoin Cash orchestrated pump happened. We had that dip from 72 to 55. But that wasn't even real pain, actually, because it happened in a couple days. No one really felt anything.
That's literally what just happened now, though.
Kristen Bicknell donated $200.
There you go.
Let's fucking go. Chrissy B, let's go. Man, Serda's list's getting longer.
That's good. Max pain, please.
Let's go.
So they're 77?
Yes. Thank you so much, Chrissy. So thankful. Thank you. We're trying to punish Serda. Serda has to drink more. Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much, Chrissy. We're looking forward to having you on as well.
That was water. Hold on.
That was water? What? Wow. Thanks, Chrissy. You are awesome. Safe travels home.
Thanks.
Safe travels home. We'll see you soon. Awesome.
But back to that. I think people haven't really felt any real pain yet. When you can start buying the dips, but some of these people that are first time buyers in November, they haven't been through a major downswing yet. You and I have been in this space for a little bit longer now.
Yeah.
And we've kind of seen some pretty ugly downswings over much longer period of, or not long periods of time, but relatively to this insane upswing over the last few months.
I remember when we bought XMR at under $80.
Yeah.
It's XMR right now is $350.
Man, I held on to Litecoin at $50 for the longest time. And
me too. I wanted to dump it at 100, and then I dumped some, and then just was fuck this, diversified portfolio theory. You know.
But that's when it started pumping. When it seemed like so many of us that were in it from September, we were just boy, everything. All these alts is getting wrecked versus Bitcoin all the time. They were doing okay versus USD or whatever, but just getting smashed because Bitcoin was shooting so hard.
If you measure your success in crypto versus USD, you're basically a scam.
Yeah, for sure you are. It's all about your B2C gains.
Right. Just the true measurement. If somebody's oh, I made 100% on this crypto investment, fucking follow me and give me money to run your portfolio. You're probably losing 800% versus Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that's actually super important to note, and I wish people could understand that, but I mean everybody that's just getting into the game, they think that
Well, yeah, you compare it to like stock market returns over the last 20 years or whatever, and like
Yeah.
all these people are like, oh man, 100%
Shaking my
return
head,
sounds
like-
incredible, but like not in this space. That's
No, like you're actually losing like infinite money.
no.
And yeah, I'm like pumped about all the different ICOs about to pop up, and
It was
should be
interesting.
like,
Yeah,
sorry?
like with this current downswing, my initial strategy was or going into January, was to top up a bunch of alt positions and like go really alt heavy into the new year. And now with this downswing, I'm like, I kind of want to just pump back into Bitcoin a lot because these prices are, again,
Yeah, I mean Bitcoin's pretty low.
cheap.
Like
So
I've
like
I
we're
have
at
a
like
lot of sell orders
13K.
that are gonna start executing at right around 12.5.
Okay.
Yeah, 12.8. But yeah, I've a fair amount of execute orders. Sorry, buy orders that are gonna happen if things retrace. But yeah, the market cap actually went down close to 100 billion in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if
a
anyone's
lot.
watching that, but that's actually really crazy. It's around 8%, which is shocking.
The other thing to note though is like now with futures live, you have all these short positions that are getting cleared out,
Yeah, absolutely.
which is really good for the long term price, right? So, like, yeah, okay, I think a lot of some maybe people that don't understand Bitcoin or want to see it fail look at it like, oh, well, now it's just like a shorting market for Wall Street to play with. Like that's not how it works. Like they'll clear out their short orders, and then the long orders come in, and that's where everyone makes their money. Like it's not just a whole barrage of short orders; they just get
As
cleared
long as
out.
you don't get margin called, you're fine.
Exactly. Yeah. And like
yeah,
getting
actually-
margin or like having a naked short position in a 24/7 market when the trading hours for this futures are like business hours. I mean, can you imagine like looking through a pump? Like you'll have like a 50% pump overnight and you have a short position that you can't touch, just keeps getting margin called. You're coming back the next day, like you can't do anything about it. The market keeps freezing, or the futures markets keep freezing up, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. I
So
think there's like a lot of interesting layers that are gonna pop up coming up in the next couple days. Also have to remember that Bitcoin God fork happens on Christmas Day.
mm-hmm.
Bitcoin God is trading at it's a 1-to-1 fork.
Okay.
It's trading at about it was trading at about $650 earlier today. I haven't checked recently in futures. Like that's fairly significant.
Yeah.
I mean, you own 20 Bitcoin, and all of a sudden,
Do you know what the?
extra 5% on top of that's pretty fucking good.
I mean, like these forks is like getting a dividend all the time, and it's.
It is, yeah. So, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of like scams happening with a bunch of forks. One of the best exchanges for stuff like this is Binance. They basically credit the fork instantly.
Nice.
Yeah.
They credit the fork instantly, and then as soon as the actual blockchain is stable, they release the fork.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the forks have to go through the actual like listing process and whatever. They basically have to pay like Binance a fee or whatever to list the fork. But at least you get to liquidate that fork as soon as possible. Like that's what I did with like Bitcoin Diamond. Like,
Yeah. Which I still haven't been able to access
nobody
mine.
else owns Bitcoin Diamond or has realized any equity. It's like I got a free like X amount of Bitcoin because I just had some Bitcoin on Binance and like they trade Bitcoin Diamond futures.
Mm-hmm. Getting some questions from Peta Bread in chat. Just asking about crypto as a general, like why are there so many coins? What do they do? What can people use them for? You want to handle that, or should I?
Yeah, I guess I'll start with that, and then you can elaborate. But
okay.
So there's a couple different classes of tokens or coins, and I think the first token or coin is a security token or coin, which is basically like a stock or bond with a coin that has intrinsic value. The second is a utility token, and it will be based on actual use. So there's you can trade this token for in-game credits or for different types of in-game purchases or for transaction fees or whatever. Bitcoin more and more is becoming a store of value rather than an actual transactional or utility token where, it's like, oh, I want to pay you like 0.0005 of Bitcoin. Like that shit's going to go away basically as Bitcoin continues to go up.
Yeah.
But I think that there's two case uses for those things. You can kind of elaborate more a little bit, at least on like utility versus security tokens, and then.
What I want to do, utility tokens aren't as big of a concern for me. Like I focus more on the security token or the securities, like the like Bitcoin, Monero, anything that like is a payment thing, or not payment, but like store of value in Bitcoin's case. Essentially, like the four qualities that make it really valuable are it's easily divisible, it's decentralized, it's I'm gonna come up these off the top of my head again. I just had a big conversation about this today too. It's easily
transactional speed is a big one for me.
Yes, of course. It's easily transferable from like around the world at fairly quick times, and there's another one too. But anyways, yeah. So those are some very big things that like nothing else is really solved. It's not like having it be decentralized is such an important thing. Yeah, it's not backed by anything. It's not backed by a government, but that's the selling point. No one can decide to print more of them. That's the other thing. It's scarce. It's there's only going to be 21 million, which sounds like a big number, but really isn't at all. When you think that 1 million has been mined by Satoshi and no one has touched them. There's potentially another like 3 million that are just lost over time. So we might be looking at a number that's closer to like 17, 18 million. And then you factor in that there's currently 35 million millionaires in the world. So like not even every millionaire in the world can own half of one at the moment.
That's right. There's a lot of use cases for decentralized cryptocurrency or for decentralized currency to begin with. I mean, obviously, some of the most immediate ones are that the Chinese government continues to devalue its currency to create cheap labor jobs in relation to the US dollar. So as the Chinese population grows, more and more people don't want to store their coin or their money in banks because it's being consistently devalued versus everything else. So there's like minor hyperinflation happening in China all the time. There's other countries.
Venezuela is the easiest example.
Yeah, Venezuela is one of them. There's definitely one in Africa that went from like
Zimbabwe,
yeah. There's now like a $1 billion note.
Yeah.
And like 5 years ago, it was like a $5 note or something like that. But there's just like crazy swings in inflation in that sense.
It is really interesting too that like you've seen the local markets for countries like Zimbabwe and Venezuela where Bitcoin is trading at like a 50% premium to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
because of the demand in those countries. It's so valuable to them right now. Because of like all the reasons you stated, that like it's not backed by anything. The government can't just print more money as they see fit because they want to fund their own bits, and like the general public just loses as a result. So the fact that it's just deflationary like that, it's only like you're never going to have more Bitcoins put into the world. And I think it's always funny when people compare it to like Beanie Babies or tulips. If you look at how those crashes happened, value, it's because the people, for Beanie Babies, the creator just flooded the market. He got greedy and flooded it.
It's the reason why a bunch of Beanie Babies were very valuable is because they had like blue eyes instead of black eyes, or like red buttons instead of black buttons on like a fucking snowman. Like, like that's the only.
I remember it. Yeah.
The fucking red button snowman instead of the black button snowman. Fucking pay me 20x the price, and like people were doing it, and therefore. Basically, it's a supply and demand function. And so anybody arguing like, oh, Bitcoin has like, value, or like the value is like between 1 and 2,000, it's like, how are you coming up with these numbers? It's like there's clearly a supply and demand function.
Yeah.
And, it's not backed by anything. It's like, well, think about what your currency is backed by, okay? Your currency is backed by a Federal Reserve that claims they have the gold in a safe. Like, who fucking knows? Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that as speculative as Bitcoin is, currency is just as speculative or more. And Bitcoin can't be manipulated. Bitcoin cannot be manipulated by one player as much as currency can. So, like, if the U.S. government all of a sudden decides they want to print infinite amounts of U.S. dollars, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to pay off all our debt. We're going to devalue the currency. This is what it's worth currently. We have a, $15 trillion debt. We're just going to print that today, and we're going to pay off the debt. Like, that's not how it works. There's a lot of different factors that go into valuation of cryptocurrencies, and not everything can be ICO ready. Like there's a ton of shitty coins out there that people think there's like a use case for blockchain or whatever, and like that's simply not the case. So like please this is definitely not investment advice, but like don't believe everything you read. Like there's so many people that are trying to manipulate markets in so many ways.
It's going to happen when so many of these markets are still pretty small. Like you're gonna have manipulation happening. It's just too obvious a spot for these people to do it. But it doesn't mean that these coins or a lot of these. Well, I mean, some of them don't have long-term use cases, but some of them definitely do. And yeah, it's just gonna be it's very young, and I think like when you have something that comes along with a lot of value, there's gonna be a lot of shit that comes along with it. Like when the .com boom happened, you had all these shitty websites that had no value but were getting dragged up along with it. Didn't mean the internet didn't have value. It meant that a lot of froth got dragged up with it, and not all of it's gonna survive.
I agree.
But yeah,
I think it's going to change the way the world banks, personally.
yes.
I think decentralized banking will happen. I don't think it's going to be immediate. I think there's going to be some people that, like, I mean, Bitcoin right now, like, just looking it up, it's, under 14K.
Yeah.
Like, people are going to be selling right now. Like, there can be fear right now.
Yeah, can you imagine these people that just bought at 18K and then just like lost such a huge percentage? They're gonna panic because everyone around them is telling them, "Oh, it's a bubble, it's a scam." Like that's all gonna be in their heads as this crash is happening. So there's a reason why HODL has become the motto of crypto, right? Like, just hold on for dear life and go. It's like
you just have to look at it in a sense where it's like you're still crushing regular ROI in markets, but like if you're not ready to take 20% swings in a day, like don't do this.
Yeah.
And I told lots of people that. So.
Yeah. And when they like a lot of people with when they advise you not to keep more than like 10% of your net worth in crypto, it's because most of the people that they're advising don't have the experience or aren't mentally ready to absorb these swings for like large percentage of their net worth. I think like as poker players, maybe we're a bit more equipped to handle the swings.
Absolutely.
But it's also why like so many poker players are so involved in crypto, because for a lot of us, it's like a very big chunk of our net worth right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case with a lot of other groups of people yet.
And Joe Fay posting burn Bitcoin burn. I was like, are you serious? I was like, I know he's not like, he's just trolling, but it would be so fucking terrible for like, fucking Adam's updating this.
Yeah, I mean, like, crashes.
Fuck you, Adam.
Crashes are going to be bad for Bitcoin short term. Like, you're going to have like these big, like, say we dropped under 10K, which could happen realistically in the next month. Like the PCA high roller buy-ins, they're gonna get wrecked in the near future because people are gonna want to put all their money into crypto instead. Whatever they have left, like they'd rather not put it into a 25K buy-in. A lot of these players, anyways. I think
it's. I agree.
Even just like the 10K main, like this 10K, like these backers buying up pieces for a 10K, that happens all the time. Like they're not going to want to take, small returns on a 10K when they can just put it into crypto right now and buy the dip.
I know. I say this all the time. It's like the opportunity cost of money right now. Like if you have a finite amount of money, the opportunity cost of locking it into somewhere where you're gonna make like a super high variance spot where you're gonna make 10% is terrible. Like don't do it. Just fucking fire like some random coin that's just gonna make like 2% a day for the next 1% a day for the next year.
Right.
And you just get to realize that equity is so much harder than you do in terms of like a tournament, and that's basically why I've like stopped buying pieces. It's like if I don't care about the sweat, like I'm just probably not gonna fire.
Yeah, exactly. That's why like I'm not aggressively looking for pieces from people I don't know. It's like I'm gonna buy close friends as long as the markup's good and reasonable. Then like outside of that, I'm not. It's just my money's better off in crypto right now, especially during dips.
Absolutely.
Like after big upswing and I want to take some profit, maybe sure I can punt some money into buying pieces and whatnot, but like not during downswings. It's just my money is far better placed into crypto.
I agree. Alright, so I've got to wrap it up from my end. Cool. Where are we at for donations?
Thank you so much. I'm gonna tally it up. What's my fucking swear jar at?
39 now.
Let's fucking go! Let's make it around 40.
40 it is.
Alright. Should have written down the number from before, but I am an idiot. And
Should be close to 2K, I think.
Plus 39.24.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for doing this, guys. It's like unbelievable.
Super
Shit.
excited to help out and feel like the money's obviously going in a good spot with Red Charity.
Absolutely. So, I'm like, and the fact that they're doubling it on, like Dan Smith's doubling it on top of that, like.
Thanks to Dan, Big Papa Gates. I'm sorry I don't know your brother's Twitter handle.
Yeah, I forget their handles, but.
Yeah, Big Papa Gates is the big one. He's like the DFS goat. But yeah.
We put together like a tournament on Natural 8 for the stream, and there's only 3 of us in it right now. It's me, Ryan Schoenbert, and Adam. So anyways, it just popped up.
Collusion for the win.
I flop top set again. Oh,
Is this live?
Damn, okay. Your total is 1860. Oh, sorry. It's actually 1964. That's the plus the.
So we'll round it up to 2K.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Serda.
How are we? Sorry, I don't know how we're settling this. Do you want Stars money? Do you want Canadian? What? How do I?
Do you use PayPal?
Do you have PayPal? Because we're gonna actually be sending a huge chunk.
I don't have PayPal.
To them.
I have crypto. I have whatever fucking else. I don't have PayPal.
I mean, if you want to e-transfer it, I can just send it to PayPal from my account.
Great.
Okay.
So 2K USD locked, or is it CAD? I don't know.
USD.
Okay. To 2K USD locked. Just send me the info, and I will
Sounds
send
good.
it off to you guys.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Awesome. Have a great time.
Right, I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, see you in a couple days.
Great.
Bye, Serda.
See ya.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks,
Peace.
you too.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye. Wow.
That was a lot of fun.
Wow.